As the United States of America and Kenya sought to celebrate their 60th anniversary of a very cordial and bilateral relationship and their shared prosperity, Joe Biden officially invited President William Samoei Ruto for a state visit to State House. This was a very special accolade for William Ruto and the First Lady Rachel. Now, the Democrats did not let it end there because some of them wrote a letter to the Speaker of Congress, Honorable Mike Johnson. But the Democrats at the US House did not end it there. They did a special letter requesting the Speaker, Mike Johnson, to invite William Ruto to address a special joint Congress. And this was very big. The UDA fraternity they were over the moon with joy because William Ruto was going to be the second African president to do this after the former president of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, did it about 18 years ago. And when you looked at the social media, this was the talk of the day that William Ruto had gotten a special invitation to address Congress. But Speaker Mike Johnson declined this request, and he gave what looked to me like flimsy excuses because he was saying that allowing William Samoei Ruto to address Congress would be a security strip. It will involve a lot of security, and that Congress would waste quite a chunk of their time. And that caught my attention because it was like telling William Ruto that allowing you to address a special joint Congress meeting is a waste of time. And this did not go down well with some of the Democrats, and they launched an onslaught against the speaker. Remember, Mike Johnson is a member of the Republican Party, but the government is formed by Joe Biden, who is a Democrat. And experts have really delved into this discussion, and some are saying that this is pure humiliation and it is shameful to William Ruto. Yes, he's still going to visit White House in his special capacity as a president of Kenya, and this is going to be a state visit. But now he will not have that very golden chance to go to the annals of history as one of the African presidents who were given the privilege to address a joint Congress. But ladies and gentlemen, there is another twist to this, because some people have been trying to delve into this discussion and they're asking why, and they're trying to answer that question. Now, lawyer Gitobu Imanyara shocked the nation when he sought to explain just exactly what happened that informed the decision to deny and reject Ruto's attempt to address a joint sitting of the Congress. And this is what Gitobu Imanyara is saying, that what is not coming out clearly regarding the now not happening address by President William Ruto to a joint session of US Congress during his state visit to the US later this month is that the decision not to extend the invitation by House Speaker was preceded by hundreds of emails from Kenyans within Kenya and in the diaspora requesting Speaker Johnson not to extend the invitation to President Ruto on account of his disrespect to democratic governance principles set out in the Constitution and state capture by corruption cartels. Those faulting the Speaker's decision have no idea of what's happening in Kenya. Sadly, the American ambassador in Kenya is aiding and abetting in this criminal enterprise that rules Kenya. Respect the Constitution or perish. That's a powerful one from lawyer Gitobu Manyara, a very controversial lawyer who has been in the opposition since time immemorial. In fact, when history shall be written of those people who fought for the second liberation in this country, Gitobu Imanyara's name will be top, because these are people who have suffered. They suffered under the Nyayo regime. They fought for multipartism. So he is telling us that when Kenyans got wind that William Ruto had been given a special invitation to visit the US, and this was a state visit, and then later they realized that some Democrats were requesting Speaker Mike Johnson to invite William Ruto to address a special double sitting of the Congress. They started sending emails. And the motive of the emails was to deter the Speaker from inviting William Ruto. Why? Because they say William Ruto has presided over state capture, massive corruption in the country, and a government that is full of illicit activities. Now, Gitobi Manyara further goes ahead to say that the person at the center of this is Meg Whitman, because Meg Whitman is the US ambassador to Kenya. She is supposed to be writing the correct report about the corruption in the country. Yet she is aiding this kind of unconstitutional behavior. And lawyer Gitobi Manyara says, you either respect the Constitution or perish. I've seen certain comments, and some people are saying that you are going to make William Ruto start punishing Kenyans who are abroad. But come to think of it, ladies and gentlemen, I asked this question in my earlier analysis. When Ellen Johnson was allowed to address a joint sitting of the Congress, two things come to mind. Number one, Ellen Johnson was the first woman president in Africa, and that makes her very special in a male-dominated, kind of politics, the murky waters of African politics. She survived the storm and became the first woman president. Number two, Liberia was a creation of the USA because slaves were ferried to that land, and so it was their country, so to speak. And that is why Ellen Johnson was given that privilege. Number three, after that country was rocked by war, it was civil strife and war, Ellen Johnson brought peace and tranquility in that nation, and therefore she befitted that position to address a joint Congress because she had something. But William Ruto, for example, if he's allowed to address a joint Congress, what is it that he has? Because apart from the choreographed climate change activities where he declares a holiday for people to plant trees, and the fact that he's been a puppet sort of to the US, there's nothing much that he has. But what exactly does it mean? And that is what I want us to look at, and I've got only three. Please subscribe to our channel if you're watching for the first time. Click the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you again and again. I want to salute you and thank you for your continued support to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, I have realized that Kenyans are not happy in the manner in which William Ruto is ruling this country. He started and he ascended to power by a lot of hoodwinking Kenyans, a lot of lies. William Ruto is one person who knows what he will tell you, when to tell you, and who to tell. He knows he's an orator. He's a big liar. And after ascending to power, he still perpetuates the lies, promises. In fact, in Kenya, there's a joke. They'll call him Tumetenga. we have reserved this amount of money to do this. And he keeps on promising. Instead of telling people what he wants to do, he tells them what he will do. Or instead of telling them what he has done, he keeps on planning. And some people are saying that he is still planning to plan for 2027 or whatever he gave people. Recently, when he visited victims of floods in Madari, people were shocked. He continued promising, this is what I want to do. 2 weeks after these people were affected, tunataka kufanya hivi, tunataka, and people are saying, this guy is not serious. And some people are thinking that he was not prepared. Raila Amolo Odinga once said that this is a regime that was never prepared to take over power. Even though William Ruto kept on saying that I have a plan in everything, I have a plan in economy, I have a plan. And he told us that he is the president that is ready to take and make hard decisions. So Kenyans are not happy at all, ladies and gentlemen, both in the diaspora and Kenyans living locally. They are not happy. Number two, I have realized from this, if whatever Imanyara is saying is true, that the people have got the power to change their country. Kenyans have got the power to show the direction and the vector of our politics, and Kenyans can decide to save their country, to change it. During elections, they can go there, as they did in 2002, when they voted overwhelmingly to bring down the 24 years of Nyayo regime. We also have that capacity and authority to eradicate corruption and tribalism if we so decide, because Kenyans just decided that we want to send email addresses to the speaker. And as a result of the numerous complaints, the speaker decided, I'm not going to allow William Ruto to address a special joint sitting of the Congress. Number three, I just did realize that US Parliament is not controlled by the executive. And this is a lesson to Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly. The kind of state capture that is taking place in the country is one that is wanting. The DCI, Parliament, Judiciary, all the so-called independent institutions have been taken capture. If that was Kenya, I can assure you that the speaker would have not acted independently. The instructions would have come from William Ruto. But I've just realized that even Joe Biden himself, who is a good friend to William Ruto, cannot compel Mike Johnson to allow William Ruto to address a special Congress. It's something that we need to understand. In fact, it reminds me when William Ruto was given instructions to ferry 1,000 policemen to Haiti, at a time when US was evacuating their people from Haiti because the situation was very dire and very dangerous. And the parliament voted that they were not going to take part in this mission. Joe Biden could not overrule what Parliament had said. But in our situation, Parliament had ruled that William Ruto had got no capacity to take 1,000 policemen to Haiti. But he said, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to do it my way. According to William Ruto, it is either his way or the highway. We need to learn. We need to pick some of these best practices where we just decide that we are going to respect the independence of institutions, and including the verdicts of courts. You remember how William Ruto threatened judges, threatened those who went to court. So I've learned that this parliament cannot be controlled, the speaker cannot be controlled. I have also realized that Republicans do not trust William Ruto. You know, Democrats are the ones who are trying as much as they could to allow William Ruto to address them. But Speaker is a Republican, refused and rejected this request. And it tells me that they know the kind of relationship between William Samoei Ruto and Joe Biden. They know that we are being used. Did you know that we are about to sell our state corporations, including our seed corporation? I continue to mention this because it touches on the GMO thing that William Ruto, you know, there was a ban on GMO for 10 years that Uhuru was in power. But when William Ruto ascended to power, he immediately suspended the ban, lifted the ban. And before we knew it, we were told that our state corporations can be sold without the input of parliament. That was a bill that was sponsored by Kimani Chungwa. So that today, if they want to sell KICC, parliament has got no authority in it. So we want to sell our seed corporation to the US because they want to control all the animal feeds, human foods, so that we can consume GMO. And the Democrats want to do this, but Republicans seem to understand what is happening. And that's why they decided, no, William Ruto, we're not going to allow you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if it is true that Kenyans did emails and they were complaining and telling the speaker, please don't, this is the best thing that has ever happened, because Wakenya wataki mchezo. I don't know what you think. Please share with me what you think about the tweet. And Meg Whitman, I like Itobi Manyara. She's been part and parcel of the mess. I remember sometimes back Raila told her, shut up. Raila said, the rogue ambassador. You must understand that she's a foreigner and we need to call her out. That is my take, ladies and gentlemen.